design, and that's why it's called Kelvin Designs. Click down here to subscribe to my YouTube channel and get all these episodes as they come out, and click up here to get the source files for this episode and every other tutorial that I do for free. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make a double exposure photo using Photoshop, and we're going to take a photo of a portrait that you can see here and a photo of nature that you can see here and put them together to get this. It's a pretty cool effect. It's actually really simple and it doesn't take very long. So let me show you. Alright, so to start and get the free raw files for this episode, go to my website, kelvindesigns.com, click on free lessons, and if you don't have a login, just sign up for free. And if you do, just log in and go on the episode, and once you're logged in, just click on the download source files and it will download this folder here. And in here you have bone.jpg and mountains and forests, so go ahead and open those into Photoshop. And as a little note, in double exposure, what's very common is mixing a person with a photo of nature. So I've gone ahead and picked two of those, and this subject, as a note, works much better as a profile photo compared to face on, and that's because the detail here near the outline really helps sell that mix. And alright, so the first thing I want to do is actually get a little more detail in this photo, almost like an HDR. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Camera Raw Filter, and in here I'm going to increase the clarity, open up the shadows, and bring down the highlights. And that kind of makes that fake HDR. We could also overexpose it just a touch, because it's it's a little, we can open it up a little more. I want the whites to be a little whiter, so something like this. Not too much, but I like that. And that's pretty good. Okay, hit OK on that, and alright. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, let's just double click this and call this subject. I like to name my layers. Now, what you want to do is turn this black and white. The subject, you don't have to make it in black and white, but it usually helps greatly. So go to the this layer adjustment down here and click on black and white. And the default works pretty good, but usually it's recommended to use the high contrast blue filter. So let's go ahead and do that for now. We can always come back and change that if we want to, but that looks pretty good. Okay, and then make a clipping mask by holding on the Option or Alt key down in between those, and you see now this black and white will only affect the subject layer. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is import this photo, okay, the nature. So just click and drag it, bring it over here. Now it did bring it under this clipping mask, which is not what we want. So just bring it above there and hold on the Alt again so it releases that clipping mask. And you want to take this layer, let's just call this nature, and turn it into screen mode, alright? And so now we can basically position this and see how that works. So that's pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then zoom out just so that I can have this in my pasteboard. And we're looking at how these two are going to get mixed together. Okay, so I'm going to let's just put this on multiply for a second. I want to mix these two, and I want to use the natural decline of this mountain for the edge here. And on the left side, we'll figure that in a second, but you can't really see the outer edge of that. To see it a little better, you can just turn down this mask. Not the mask, the opacity of this layer. So now we can actually see the mix in there a little better. We'll bring it back in a second. Okay, so with the nature, I hit Command T for a free transform, and remember that we want to use this as the decline in the forehead up here. Okay, so hold on the Alt and Shift key to kind of maintain those proportions, and you want to get, I'm trying to get a little more detail in here, so something like this. Okay, maybe a little bit, even a little bit smaller, something like that. Okay, and I really want to use this decline. I'm trying to align that. It could be a little bigger, something like this. Something like that is not bad. I like that. I wanted the trees as the beard, so I'm trying to keep that kind of level. So maybe a little bit smaller, something like that. Okay, that's pretty good. So the beard here with the forest, and then the using the mountains as the area the skull, which is kind of an interesting mix. So something like this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Now there's a couple of masks that we need. The first mask we need, so we go back down here, let's bring this back to 100%, and we can go ahead and hide this. The first mask we need is the mask of our subject. So to do that, very simple, go to the quick selection tool, and just click around here in the white area. It's pretty simple, something like that. And then let's include this little black bar, which we actually don't want. We're going to get rid of that. Okay, and then hit Command Shift I, or on PC Control Shift I, or if you just want to go up here and select and hit the inverse. So that inverse is selection. I used to have the background selected, now I have the subject selected. Now we want to edit the edge of this, so we're going to go ahead and click the Select and Mask. And I've heard of quite a few people complain about this new tool, but it seems to work pretty simply. You want to hit the that second tool down there, which is the Refine Edge brush tool. And holding down the Control and Alt, you can select how big by going left to right, and how hard by going up and down. So I want a soft brush, and I want it to be about the size of what I consider the fuzziness to be. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Command plus or Control plus, and let's make this a little bit smaller. Alright, so now I'm going to go in here, and I'm brushing with that Refine Edge brush tool, and it's basically determining, I'm saying, well, in this area, please recalculate what is transparent and what is not. Pretty simple. Okay, a little bit here by the eyelashes and the eyebrows, and then here by the mustache, here, and in the beard. And that's pretty simple, pretty easy. Okay. I'm not too worried about the shirt. We can always come back and clean on that. Hit OK, and here we go. We got our selection. Okay. Now, I don't want the mask to only mask my subject. I want it to mask the nature as well. So how do I do that? I'm going to select all by holding down the Shift key, and then click on the Group tool. And I've now made a group, and we can actually leave this as Group 1. And in Group 1, we're going to create a mask out of that selection. All right. So now this mask of the subject is being applied to everything that's inside. And you can see that in the background. I actually don't really want the checker box, so what I'm going to do is create a new layer back here. Whoops, I'll do that. Put it not inside the group, below the group, right here. And click default colors, make the foreground white. Let's just fill it with foreground or just white. There we go. That way I can really see the edges a little better. Sometimes it's hard to see the edges when you use the checkered. Always important to name, so let's just call this white background. Okay. Now, so we have our subject mask, and there's another mask that we need, but how, and I need to mask something else out of this, but I do not want to affect this mask in case I need to use it again. And so let's go back in here. Let's just hide this subject for now. And in screen mode, it'll obviously not show anything underneath. So let's just go back to normal for a second and bring this out just for one moment. Outside of the group, I want to get a mask or selection of this guy. So to do that, once again, using the quick brush selection tool, let's go in here and pretty simple. Make that selection. This tool is pretty magical. Okay. All right. So that horizon line is pretty much all I need. Oh, I don't want that in there, so I gotta go in there. Hold on the Alt. Let's make this smaller. Alt key. Get rid of that. So that fixed that. Pretty simple. Okay. That edge is pretty clean, so I don't have to do too much work. I invert the selection again. Okay. I bring that. Now I'm gonna put my nature photo back inside, and you see that selection is in there. However, I do not want to edit this. So how do I create another mask without editing this? Very simple. I go ahead and make a new group, put this inside it, so it's one group within the other. Go in Group 2 here and create a mask. All right. So now everything is being masked out that's inside this group. To see that transparency effect, I go to the nature, put it back on screen as we had it before. So now we have that mix again, which is what we want. Okay, so now our basic masks are done. And just to reiterate, I didn't want to mask or destroy this mask, so to not destroy it, I created another group, added another layer mask. And this, you can go on and on and on and create more and more groups with masks. Doing it a couple times, not too complicated. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is there's some areas that we want to reveal the nature. All right, so to do that, very simply, because this is in screen mode, create a new layer, put it underneath the layer, the nature. We'll call this reveal nature. And in here, very simply, hit D for default colors, which means black in the foreground. Go to your brush tool, and let's do an opacity of 20. Something like this. Change the size of your brush a little bit. And basically, by brushing black on this reveal nature, because this is in screen mode, it's going to reveal the nature and essentially hide the subject. So I really want the top of these mountains to be perfectly clear, no mixing with the subject. Alright, so I'm just brushing the top, and there, that's pretty clean. I don't really want the ear, so I'm going to hide that as well. Something like that. I like that. Okay. And then, okay, that's pretty much what I want. And then there's the other way, which is I would like to have some areas where the nature is hidden and we reveal more of the subject. So in that case, I go and create a mask on the nature, and with black in the foreground, because black will conceal, I go in here, and again, very light brush, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mask out the mountains area in here. And you see that here in the mask. I'm basically hiding the mountains, so I'm revealing the eye. I want that a little